Hey guys, a warm welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be continuing with the servicing on my beautiful Ferrari 355 here. This is part two. Part one was all about doing the oil change on the engine and the gearbox, the transmission. This one is going to be all the other stuff. So this is going to be things from brake fluid change, coolant change, filters, all of that stuff. And then the final part on this series is going to be part three. And that is going to be the biggie on this car that everyone fears. That is the cam belt change, the timing belt change on that one. So once I finish this series, even your granny will be able to service a Ferrari 355. Hopefully after this, it will put everyone's mind at rest. Save you guys a lot of money if you are inclined to do the servicing yourself on these kind of cars. Anyway, I'm going to crack on. Before I do, don't forget guys, if you enjoy this kind of thing, please give the video a thumbs up. It really does help the algorithm with YouTube on it. If you've got any comments at all, suggestions, write them down below the video. And finally, I do just want to say a quick thank you to my sponsor on this one, Superformance. Remember, all the servicing kits for this car came from Superformance, and at the moment we have got a deal with those guys for you, that we have free shipping worldwide on the service kits, limited time only guys. So put my code Ratarossa in on the order page and you will get free shipping. So make the most of everything going on at the moment. I am, and I'm servicing all the Ferraris at the moment. Anyway, enjoy. Next I'm going to change the fuel filter on the car. On the 5.2 Motronic later version 355s, it's just a one fuel filter located over here. On the earlier cars, the 2.7, they had two fuel filters. As you can see, not too bad to access that over there. If I want, I can just remove this little panel here. That's three little hexes to remove that one. But I will, just get over there, have a look at that one, and then we'll get a new one put in. Okay, so this is our replacement filter. A couple of things to note: make sure you put the filter the right way up. Secondly, tools you're going to need are, I use an adjustable just to keep the filter steady there, so I put it on there. And then you're going to need a 17mm spanner to get the nuts actually on the unions over there. Okay, so we're going to loosen those up. And then we've got a bracket around it, which is, I think it's a 10mm. It might be, I'll let you know. Okay, so let's put a rag down there because we're bound to get a bit of fuel out of here. Also guys, the other thing to mention with this one, make sure your car is cold and we haven't just warmed it all up, because right directly below this is your manifold, your headers, which can be very hot, and this will cause you a problem. Right, I will confess I have cranked these bolts already, so just to make it easier for myself. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is get that 13mm. Is that 13? Okay, we're going to take off the bracket that holds this in place, which is down here. Voila. I'm going to drop anything down here. One of those and a washer. Now, get that out. What I want to try and avoid is twisting any of these. There we go. So now we have the fuel filter out and easy accessible. I'm just going to use my 17mm open-ended and a 19mm here. I'm just going to crank that nut there. Just hold that. I'm going to just remove this one here. I need some new crush washers. One, then if we remove the fuel line there, that just stops it from kinking when we try, because if you try and unscrew this, same with the other side, you're going to have a problem. So there we go. There's that one. And there's our other cross washer, and then we should easily be able to just spin that down here. I'm going to take the bracket off in a minute. There we go, and there's all our fuel coming out. All right. Okay, so that's the other one. That's off, and then we're just going to put the other one, new one on, and just replace all of those washers. It's really got some fuel in it, that one. Okay, so we've got a new copper washer on there. Screw this in place. Let's tighten that one up. And that is it. That's bolted in place, so the new fuel filter is done. Next we're going to do the coolant. Up next we're going to be doing the air filters in here. Very simple. 4 little flathead screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, I've removed those. These ones I haven't. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remove the just the pipe in here, just the clamps, makes it easier. Pop that off, and then we'll just replace it. Okay, so just give that a little wiggle. One of those. Some replacements. Okay, a couple of leaves in there, otherwise that is clean. Okay, and that goes in like that. Just make sure it's nice and snug. It just has a little lip in there, so make sure that goes in there. That's one. Put the cover back. Get that bit in first, then line that up. And then we just put the screws in, and then I'm going to do the same on this one here. Very easy, 2-minute job. Next on the 355's service agenda are the spark plugs. All right, so 4 either side, obviously, V8 engine. To access them, we have this panel here on our cover, and it's held into place by 10 of these little hex bolts. Now, a little tip here. IKEA comes in handy. These little things that you get with the flat packs. I always keep these because they're really cool, especially for doing this. Nice and handy. Da, 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 da. There we go. So I'm going to get all 10 of those out. Simple. IKEA fixing Ferraris. There we go. So I'll get all 10 of those out, and then we'll move on to doing the plugs. Right, that's all 10 of the bolts out of place. So we can just remove that very carefully. Now, a little bit of advice for you guys. This is my 4th 355 I've owned in the last 20 years. And they're quite notorious. If you don't put these back correctly, put a new gasket on there, seal this up. What happens is when it does this and it pours down with rain, if this car is outside, if you look at the engine lid, it's just mesh here, all the water gets down, gets in here, seeps in, sits in the spark plug holes, and you'll see those rust up and you'll get misfires and all kinds of problems. Okay, so probably better to replace the gasket when you're doing that, and make sure you've got it all buttoned up correctly, and the little rubber bung down there around the spark plug leads. The next thing I would advise is just to make a note of the spark plug lead routing. So this one, they come underneath, this one comes underneath here, all the way to the end. The other thing with these is they are quite notoriously bad to get the plugs out of here. So it's a little bit of a wiggle and then it comes out. So it is quite tight in here, and I found the best way is you get one finger in this side under that lip, the other finger over the other hand over here, and then you just pop it out like that, and there you go. And that's that one out. Just inspect your leads, make sure everything looks good there, and I'm just gonna do one at a time. So spark plug socket wise, that is a 10mm, typical for 355s, 360s, etc. I've got a short extension bar, not too bad on the 355, quite a bit of room, especially on this side. Goes in there. I'll put my little ratchet on the end, and there we go. We'll get that one out. Okay, so that's my old one out. Doesn't look too bad at all. So correct plugs as well have been used. So it's NGK and they're PMR7As. There's the new shiny one. So I'm going to go around and change all of those. I'm not going to bore you with that on video. Just a note, like I said, watch the routing of all of those spark plug leads. They are all different lengths, and they all come out of the end here and they route up to the coil here. That's all 8 of this Ferrari V8's spark plugs changed over, so this should purr like a kitten again. Next we are going to change the coolant. So first of all, we are going to unscrew the cap there. Then we're going to go under the car again. Now we're going to start to drain the coolant from the radiators. So right side radiator here, see the Ferrari badge there underneath it. You can see where we are on the car. This is the rear of the car. And then we're looking for this here. This is our drain plug. There we go. So it's just a flat bait. We're going to remove that. We're going to drain all of the coolant from here, and we're going to do the same on the other side over there. And that's our starting point. So we have our pan in place here to catch all of that coolant. Just slowly backing off this. Trying to do it without getting in the way of the camera, one-handed. The joys of trying to film this for you guys on YouTube. This thing is going to pop out any second, and I'm likely to get covered here. I'll try not to. Let's see what we can do. See my skill levels, one-handed. Now, can I do that by hand? Yes, I can. Here we go. Ready? It's coming. Ooh, good. There we go. Woo! Okay, so that's one. So this is the plug that comes out of the radiator, bottom of the radiator. Just got a little rubber O-ring there that just seals that. So we're just going to replace that with a new one before popping that back in. Okay, here we go for number two. The other thing to inspect is the actual plastic plug itself. Just make sure it's not going to strip, all the threads are good. Otherwise, it's not worth taking any kind of chances. These are cheap, change that as well. So the final two drain points, we've done the two underneath the radiators on the side of the block up here, just underneath the manifold, the headers. So let's see if I can show you guys over here. Right, so I have put my socket in up there. That is this side of the block, and if I spin the camera around and we go to the other side, you will see as I commando across the floor here. There it is up there, so let's just zoom in. Okay, so they're both 6mm hex, so I'm going to drain both of those, and that is all done. It causes a little bit of a mess, there's a few things underneath it, so there's a little bit of a clean up afterwards, but it's got to be done. Done now. As you can see, that causes a little bit of a mess. It doesn't matter how hard you try, you are not going to catch it all in your drip tray there. Anyway, both of those are done. I've dropped the car in between as well, just to make sure we catch all of that coolant. It's back up, the plugs are back in, they've got new copper washers on those now. So I'm going to drop the car again now, and basically we are going to start filling the system. We're ready now to start refilling the coolant. I've got my funnel in there, hopefully to stop some of the spillage. System takes 11 litres of coolant, and I'm going to fill it up to max level, and then we're going to go in the car, start it up, leave the cap off, and then just watch our levels. Okay, so we're going to leave the cap off. It's this is brimmed up, it's just below max level on that one. So we're going to come in the car now. We're going to do a couple of things here. So we're going to put our heating onto max level, fan speed on 2, make sure that it's out, the stop button is out. Then we're going to fire up the car. We're going to fire up the car and we're going to let it warm up, keeping an eye on our levels out there. Okay, so the engine's running, I've got the cap on. We're just going to keep an eye on our levels. Once the car gets up to temperature, the thermostat opens up, it starts circulating some of that fluid with the fans rotating as well. The sun here in the UK has finally come out again, and it's an ideal opportunity to give the 355 a little service, a shakedown. So I'm just gently driving it around for about, probably going to give it about a half an hour blast, and I'll be stopping in between. I need to go over to the Ferrari 308 project, and the last thing I need to do on this one is the brake bleeding. So my brake bleeder kit is over at the 308. So I'll be checking the engine oil levels, the coolant levels. Obviously If you guys are doing this, be very careful because it gets extremely hot. So if you're going to try and test it halfway through, number one, the coolant is probably going to expand and come out, and number two, the oil, again, that oil filler cap gets very hot, so just be very careful with that. So I'm going to do that. Then we've got a few more little checks. So like I say, we've got to do the brakes, run around, check all like lubricate door straps and stuff like that. So all the little stuff, just some periodic checks we need to do with the car. Okay, so first stop, everything is looking perfect. I've just checked the levels on the oil. That's up to max, that's really good. Coolant is completely fine, no need to top that up. And the car is running superb, absolutely beautifully. So happy days with that so far. So I've got the roof down on the car, we're going to drive it back. All the levels are perfect on it, it's driving superb. Just a word really to say, it's better to be cautious with these things. So on a shakedown test, especially after you've done a service like this, always carry a fire extinguisher just in case. Ferrari one. Anyway, yeah, you can never be too careful with these things. It just takes one little drop of oil in the wrong place or fuel in the wrong place, and you could lose your nice looking supercar. Moving on to the next job on the Ferrari 355, we're going to be refreshing all of that old brake fluid in the car. To do that, I like to promote all of this is possible as a one-man band, and everything you've seen so far has all been done just by me. And it's going to be the same story with the brakes. There are tools available to assist you in doing these kind of jobs by yourself. One of those things is this kind of easy bleed system here. The way it works is you hook it in, you have some fluid in the bottle here, and then the other side, the other pipe is hooked in to one of your tires at low pressure, and it pressurizes the system, pushes it through, and then you open the bleed nipples on each of the calipers and it just pushes the fluid through. So it's really easy to do. I've used one of these for years. I'll put a link somewhere below in the description where I buy these from, and like I say, they're only cheap and they will save you a lot of aggro. Anyway, I'm going to hook this up and then we'll start bleeding each of the corners. To set the system up, we've got our cover off here, we've got our cap unscrewed. We're going to replace it with this cap from the system. We're going to fill this up with our brake fluid. This pipe here goes straight on to our tyre valve down here, and it needs to be a maximum of 20 psi. So we're going to deflate the tyre slightly. Then we are going to work our way around the car. We go from the furthest point from the filler here, which is the general principle on most cars when you're bleeding the brakes. So we're going to go over onto that side first, then there, then to this one, and then finally we're going to finish off here. And we're just going to open up those bleed nipples, and this system will push the fluid through. The setup I like to use is I like to protect everything as much as possible. So I put a rag around here just in case we get any spillage. I also like to put the container in a box, again for the same reason. We've got that filled up now with our top four. And then finally, when I've got my wheel off at the back, I will then hook that up and pressurize the system here. We've got the rear wheel off of the 355 now, and we're all set up here, ready to start going. So some old fluid here, or some fluid, just so we don't get any air bubbles coming back through the system. So that will be submerged in there. That will gradually fill up anyway. We just need to keep our levels here checked up. We've got an 11mm brake spanner. That's for our nipple here, bleed nipple. So we're going to open that up, and then all I need to do is go to the front of the car and put the valve on the tyre, so we've got some air pressure coming through, and then we'll start seeing fluid coming through here. So as you can see, we've got it open here. So this is all open. If I lift this up just to show you guys, we've got the blue original fluid coming out. Now I'm going to submerge that in there. That's how we're meant to do it. Now the cool thing is, and a little tip for you guys is, we've gone from using blue to this light yellow fluid. So if you, each year you're going to do this, or each time you're going to do this, if you just change the color of your fluid, you will start to see why, by when we bleed this through the whole system, the whole fluid will change color. So we'll know we've got the old stuff completely out then. So I'm going to do this on all four corners. So like I say, this one first, then that one, then this one, and then finally the one nearest the reservoir over there. So we've got to keep an eye on our levels here, obviously, that we don't overflow, and also make sure our bottle is topped up over there. One other thing to quickly note is we do have 2 bleed nipples on each caliper. So one on the outside here and one again on the inside there. And we need to do both of those on all 4 corners. And that is pretty much it on the 355. A few more simple little checks. Things like oiling up your door hinges, making sure everything's good there. Checking your tyre pressures, checking all your tyre tread depth. Stuff like your wiper blades, making sure they're still good. These cars don't really go out in the rain that often, so when they do, if you're caught short, you want to make sure they're good. Nozzles, things like that. When you're under the car, check you have got no rust or any issues under there. Just the obvious stuff. And that's it, guys. So leave your comments below. If you enjoyed this, obviously give it a thumbs up, and I'll wrap this one up. There you go, guys. That is all of the servicing work done on the 355, minus the big part, which is the cam belts. That's going to be coming in part 3 of this series, so stay tuned for that one. It's going to be a good one. Anyway, want to say a big thank you to Superformance for providing the parts for the servicing on this one. We have put together that deal for you guys. Free shipping worldwide on any Ferrari service kits from those guys. So don't forget, put your code Ratarossa in on the order page at the end, and you will get that deal with Superformance for a limited time only. So like I say, make use of this time. Get those Ferraris serviced up so they're ready to hit the road when we're out of it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget, you can check out everything I get up to on a daily basis over on my Instagram account. I will see you all very shortly in the next one. Give it a thumbs up. Any comments down below. Ciao for now.